Hey guys, Creator Mom here. So I wanted to do like a little movie review. I watched a movie called About My Father, which stars Sebastian Maniscalco. If you don't know who he is, he's a comedian and he's getting into like TV and movies now. But like I know the show he has, I forgot what it's called. It's mostly about like his life. That's where he gets like all the material, I think. And this movie also is about his life, and he talks about like his father a lot in his comedy as well. They are Italian. His father is straight from Sicily, and so he like makes a lot of jokes about his dad and like crazy shit from growing up. Like I don't know, it's like a lot of Italian stuff, but a lot of what this showed me is that there's a lot of like toxic behavior too. Like for instance, in this movie, the father is does not like to see his son enjoying himself and having a good time. So what happens is Sebastian meets his, future wife or whatever. He's dating her and he's going to meet her family. And that's basically what the whole premise of the movie is about, like his immigrant family, father, and he also calls her family immigrant family because her family stems from the Europeans that came over on the Mayflower or whatever. So, you know, they're rich, basically, they're very wealthy, and his father is not. He's more of like a hard worker, you should suffer, um, work hard, penny pinching, uh, critical, grumpy guy, which Sebastian does acknowledge and say these things to his father in the movie. But again, I don't, I'm not going to say the father has a narcissistic personality disorder, but he definitely has narcissistic traits. Like, anytime his son is enjoying himself, he just does not seem to like that. It doesn't make him happy that his son is happy. He's just afraid that his son is going to go off and marry someone and leave him and he's going to be alone. That's all he cares about. He doesn't see his son enjoying himself, possibly marrying into a very wealthy family, well to do family. He doesn't like this, doesn't spring joy in his heart for his son, who is a separate entity than him. He sees his son as him, right? Like, oh, if you get married, I'm married to this wealthy family, like I'm gonna lose you. I'm never gonna see you again, right? Um, and it's very unhealthy because he criticizes his son and almost wants to stop him from trying to marry this woman who he really loves. So that's how selfish the father is. Um, and he manipulates Sebastian by saying like, all I've done for you, all I've sacrificed for you, right? Because like he was an immigrant, came over to this country, he worked so hard so his son could have a better life, but he repeatedly throws that into his son's face, right? And I feel like there's this connection between like having immigrant family who worked really hard, right? And then they kind of, it's because they've done that, it's okay that they're toxic. Because they've done that, it's okay that they're narcissistically abusive towards you. And by the end of the movie, the father does many inappropriate things. Like his father is a barber. I'm not a barber. He cuts hair. He cuts women's hair. He probably cuts men's hair too. But in the movie, he's portrayed as cutting mostly like females' hair. So he goes to give his Sebastian's girlfriend's mom a haircut, and she's like an important person. She's like a senator or whatever. And he gives her this haircut and he chops all of her hair off and makes it like boy cut short. And she's like, oh my God, like this is not what I asked for. And he's like, whoa, like she should. And then the grandiosity, the superiority also shows in his personality as to where he's like, well, she should be glad that she received a haircut from me. Like I just felt her personality and I thought that this would be the great look on her and she should feel lucky to have a haircut from me. Like that was his attitude. So this is his attitude throughout the whole movie or whatever. And then he goes, let me make it up to you and let me cook you guys a wonderful Italian dinner. So they're like, no, this was like their summer house, these wealthy people's summer house. They're like, we don't have much food here and grocery stores are closed. Like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. So then he's like, no, no, no. You know, basically I'm Italian and I know how to cook something from nothing, you know? And so then he cooks his meal and everyone just loves it and it's just amazing. This is like the one of the most hilarious parts in the movie though, literally. So Sebastian Maniscalco is in the kitchen. He's like getting more wine, and his girlfriend comes over and she's like kissing him, and they're gonna make out. And they're like, they step outside the back real quick, and then Sebastian looks over and he sees like the tails of this peacock in the garbage. These guys had like, the family had like maybe 5 or so peacocks that would roam around the property. So the peacock hairs are in the garbage, and Sebastian's like, oh my God. It's like the most hilarious part of the movie. So yeah. He kills their peacock. and they don't even know they're eating it. Only at the end, he's like, I killed your peacock. And then, again, he doesn't apologize sincerely. He just goes, well, that's what was the word he used? Not a servant and not immigrant. Oh, he said, that's what an Italian peasant does. You know, like, you just gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah, all his messed up behavior, he just makes excuses for. So, by the end of the movie, you see this idea played out that, and they say more than one time in the movie, family isn't just, shit, I forgot what it says. Basically, family is everything, is the whole gist of the motto that they say in this movie. And by the end, you see the all too common theme of paying homage to the toxic parent, because after all, they were an immigrant and you survived and they tried the best they could. And he went as far also to say as his dad was his hero. So, which I can relate to, because our hearts are so that we see people, we want to give them the benefit of the doubt. We do give people the benefit of the doubt. And we understand that, unfortunately, probably they can only operate on the level that their brain and hearts can operate, or whatever. I don't know. They can't do better, or they don't. A narcissist doesn't know they're necessarily a narcissist, blah, blah, blah. So, whatever, excuses we give to make this behavior acceptable, because after all, we're still alive. They helped us, they taught us things. But he was so afraid of what his dad thought of him that there's this scene in the movie where Sebastian is playing tennis and they're playing doubles, and he's on his girlfriend's mom's team, like they're together on the same team, and then he is playing against his girlfriend and his girlfriend's brother. So at first he's playing like really bad, and then the girlfriend's like, hey, like, what the hell's going on? Like, my mom does not like to lose. Like, why are you playing like this? Well, turns out he was afraid to play well in front of his father. That's how critical and fucked up his father was, that he couldn't even feel free to play well and be like, he didn't feel like his dad was even going to be proud of him. Like, dang, look at my son. I didn't know he could play like that. No, he knew his father was going to be like, and it's funny because we know their train of thoughts. We know what they're going to say and think. So he goes, no, my dad is going to want to know like how I can play so well. And he's going to be upset that I paid for lessons. So the whole idea is like, right, like, penny pinch, don't enjoy life, don't use your money for enjoyment and pleasure. and condemn others for doing so as well. Um, so yeah, then finally, so then Sebastian's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna play like how I know how to play. So he starts kicking ass on the tennis court, and of course his father's like, where'd you learn how to play like that? Like, and then Sebastian tells him, well, like we take lessons or whatever. And then the father's like, well, how much do you pay for them? He's all worried about the money. He's so worried about money, he can't enjoy life. So Sebastian doesn't tell him the truth because it was more. It was like $80 or something. And he told his father that he paid $40. And of course, that still was too much. If he would have said $1, it would have been too much. Any money given to any kind of sort of hobby is ridiculous in notion in this man's eyes. So, you know, um, then I was thinking about something while I was in the shower. It was like, if you feel like you have to like stand up to your parents, I think that in and of itself signifies that there's a problem, that there's a boundary issue there, that they're not respecting you. If you feel like you have to stand up for yourself. So that's exactly what he had to do. But he does end up like apologizing to his dad and just saying like, no, 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 like, we want you, I want you a part of my life, blah, blah, blah. There was another scene that I was going to talk about. Let me see. So basically his dad just kept doing shit that was just messed up in the movie. Treating Sebastian poorly also, emotionally, psychologically, right? Because that's a lot of times what it is. Like these parents who are narcissistic, it's not that they have neglected you and you went to school with holes in your shirt. Like, no, like you were provided for, you ate, you learned how to work hard, you maybe even learned good things or got good things from this parent, but it was an emotional, psychological thing that they have over you, right? Oh, what I was gonna say was the father, who I don't know if I mentioned this, but Robert De Niro plays the father, and that in and of itself I think is interesting because he always plays this like narcissistic type, weird like father, like Meet the Fockers, that he played that type of role. So, but I thought I'm like, I wonder if he's like that in real life, but yeah. So there's this one scene where they're all at brunch or whatever at this country club, and obviously he's not paying for it. Like her parents are paying for everything, like this is their gig or whatever. And Sebastian's dad goes, so like, okay, they're getting ready to order from the menu. Oh, Sebastian doesn't even order what he wants from the menu. He orders only from the entrees, not an appetizer, no dessert, nothing like that, because his father used to tell him, like, you better just order from the entrees, and if you don't eat it, then you're not getting your birthday present or some crap like that. But anyways, like, so he still continues to act for his father in the way that he was supposed to when he was a child, right? Instead of realizing I'm my own person, I don't have to submit to the narcissist's rules. That's like one of the tenets in Jay Reid's books. Stop submitting to the narcissist's rules. They love that, right? And it's hard. He did not want to go against his father's rules. He tried to comply as much as he could to not get the narcissistic rage, essentially, to not get the reaction. So, what else? Okay, so back to that scene, the father goes to order from the menu, Sebastian's father, and he asks the waitress, well, how much is this? And then Sebastian's girlfriend's father was like, well, we don't put the prices on the menu, like it's fine, like we'll just get the bill, it'll be sent, to me, and we'll take care of it, like don't worry about it. And he's like, no, 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 like he just insists that he wants to know how much it is, whatever. So that was that. Yeah, so basically how it ended was that his girlfriend, Sebastian's girlfriend, then fiance later on in the movie, because he does, you know, I'm like pronounced. No, it's not pronounced. He does ask her to marry him, and she says yes. Anyways, the girlfriend finds out that um the girlfriend does art. She's an artist, okay? And she thought that her art was being purchased by like some prestigious person. But she finds out at the end of this movie that her father and mother are hired somebody to purchase all of her art so that they can put it, and then they put it in her in his hotels. The father owns hotels. So she finds this out because she finds pictures of the hotel lobbies, and she's like, oh my God, like they've been buying all my shit, you know? And she's mad at her parents because they won't let her try something and feel the satisfaction of winning on her own, because they keep, you know, being afraid, which I guess this is in and of itself selfish as well, right? Like the one side, on Sebastian's side, his father didn't want him. Okay. His father didn't want him enjoying himself. And on the other side, her parents wanted her to enjoy herself. Her parents could not bear to see her upset or to see her fail, right? They didn't want her to be sad. And that's a problem too, because our kids are going to have disappointments. They are going to feel sad. And it's their right to feel miserable if they need to for a time being, right? Like, it's part of the human spectrum of emotions that we need to be able to feel. And for a parent to continue to try to prevent their adult child from feeling certain ways is not healthy either, right? So, all right. So she was pissed off at her parents for that. And then she has a conversation with Sebastian, and she is like, you know, I really love how, you know, you were raised to be like a hard worker, and what else? I don't know. I guess some character that was instilled in him by his father or whatever. Which probably mostly comes out of fear. But yeah. She just feels like her parents have always made it easy for her, haven't let her feel like accomplished, and so on and so forth. I think there's boundary issues on both sides, right? So anyways, what else do I want to say about this? So because of that conversation, I think what happened was his dad was going to take off, because I think he was, you know, got frustrated with his father about all the stuff he had done, you know, the peacock, the haircut, just everything. And he chased after his father and chased him down to be like, you know, like you are annoying, like, you know, and you are this and that, but you're still my father, and I love you, and I want you part of my life, and you are my hero. He goes as far as to say, like, you are my hero, right? So anyways, he gets essentially suckered and drawn back into this unhealthy type of relationship dynamic. You know, I don't know if his father is going to change his ways or anything like that. And like I said, I don't know if he has narcissistic personality disorder, but a lot of shit he does is very narcissistic. The grandiosity, the superiority, you know, the being critical, scrutinizing his son, not being happy to see his son happy, you know, just always criticizing him, you know. There's probably more, but so it's just like my little analysis of the movie. Besides all the seriousness of it, it was a very funny movie. But it, like, by the half of the movie, I was like, oh my God, did he make this movie to like diss his father? To like expose that he is like a narcissist, you know? And then by the end, he's like all accepting of him, because yes, I think it is natural and human nature to want to accept your parents for they are, and which we do. You do, right? You accept people, but it doesn't mean that you need to have them close, especially when they're not respecting you, respecting your boundaries. Just because they were immigrants and just because they worked hard does not mean that they get to own your ass, and doesn't mean that they get to disrespect you because they're superior over you because they sacrifice and work so hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's still not healthy. And I feel like it's like a major like cultural thing too, but it's not okay. And I think that we are kept in these unhealthy dynamics because of that saying, family is everything, family is everything. So that means I could, essentially do whatever I want because family is everything. It's very manipulative. All right, that's all I have to say. Bye.